Good morning and welcome to episode 78 of Take a Break with Andrew Reid from Resilient Business Systems. And no Adam today. Oh, poor Adam. He's looking after a poodle Zach, so he's child minding. So we have our lovely guest. Let's all start. Who are you and where are you from?
I'm Claire Hankey and I am Head of Marketing and Engagement at Darlington College.
Darlington College, just down the road, and we all work with you very well. And you're used to this room, aren't you?
Yes, so we do have our own podcast, Learned It, Living It.
Learned It, Living It. Well, very good. So how long have you been doing that?
Coming up to a year, I think. So we haven't got quite as many episodes as you in the can as yet, but we're certainly gaining momentum with it.
That's very good.
We've got quite a few people that want to be on it now, which is quite good. So.
Isn't podcasting just great? We are getting loads of customers that are asking us to come on. When I'm asking my customers to come on, they're like, podcast? What will I talk about for an hour? And then it's a full hour and it just goes. Well, that's fantastic. So thank you very much for agreeing to come on. So where are you in terms of your marketing? What do you do in terms of your role in the college? And obviously touching on the podcast. And we'll touch on a bit of exciting tech, which I'm excited to get onto.
Well, my job's a little bit of a jack of all trades because marketing engagement also covers the engagement team, which looks after the recruitment of apprentices. It looks after the engagement with employers for work experience, schools engagement. So we go into about 66 schools across North East, including North Yorkshire. So that's all part of the team as well. And then the marketing team. So in terms of marketing, podcast plays a large part of that. Website. We use like digital radio, advertising, outdoor media, a bit of everything, traditional marketing as well, of course, to for adults.
Yes.
So a little bit of everything really.
That's a very, very varied amount of work you do, and as you say, a jack of all trades. So you obviously get involved in everything.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
pretty much.
So pretty much everything. Well, without sort of like trying to put you on the spot, do you have a favourite? Is like podcast a favourite, or is it marketing, or is it generally all of it?
The marketing element obviously is what I'm trained in. So it'll always be my first love, but I do love working with employers across the region, particularly through the teams, networking and seeing apprentices start out and then develop really well and then go on to great careers. So that's really rewarding as well.
Oh, exactly. So a little bit about yourself though. So where did you start? Was marketing your love from day one, or did you fall into it?
I went to university and studied marketing, but prior to that I thought I was going to be an interpreter because I liked languages.
Fluent in how many languages?
I can speak French and German, but only small amounts now because I've kind of lost it over the years. But so I wanted to do that originally. So I started out looking at doing European marketing.
Wow.
And then very quickly thought the marketing was a lot better than the languages.
I'll go over this way instead.
Quite creative, so I much preferred that element of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And was Darlington College your first role, or did you start off?
No, I lived in Lincoln. And
Lincoln, that's a long way down.
Yeah, so I started out in Lincoln at university.
All right, okay,
and then stayed there.
Yeah.
And then got a job in sales actually to start out with.
Right.
Was pretty good at that. I ended up going to Dubai because I won a national competition.
Well done, you.
And then moved into marketing because that's what I really wanted to do.
Yes, of course, yeah.
And I worked in legal services for 5 years.
Goodness me, right. That must have been a bit of a change.
It is, but also actually, rather than having different areas of curriculum that I look after now and we have to look at marketing those elements very differently, legal services was very similar in that respect because you'd have, options for employment law or clinical negligence or personal injury and or wills, trusts and probate. So it was very different in our approach to how we would generate clients for that in the same way as we would student recruit.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's interesting. And then how long have you been at Darlington College?
I've been at Darlington College 11 years this
week.
Yes.
No, you must have started when you were 10 then. Goodness me.
Yeah.
11 years.
11 years.
So you must love it then.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different every day. It's varied. No 2 years are the same. Education changes really quickly.
Oh, I can imagine.
With different reforms. Only a couple of years ago, the introduction of T levels.
Gosh.
Devolved authorities.
Yes.
So I'm always learning.
Yeah,
really.
different job every day. That's what to be fair, that's what I love about my job. I mean, obviously you've got the day-to-day, and you must have the day-to-day, like, you know, I'm fixing this, my printer won't work, this is not working. But then we get other customers come along going, I want to do this, or I'd like to automate this. And it's like, oh, right, okay then. So we've got today, we've got a customer over the road, Marple Spa, and they want a large TV up in their window with scrolling media, but they don't want a PC. You know, it's low cost, but they want to do it. So today, Raspberry Pi, and we're clicking and obviously the customer's going, what? It's like, we can get a Raspberry Pi and we can install a Raspberry Pi. And yeah, just do it for me, Andy. But that's great, isn't it? So in terms of your role, the students that you work with, what age levels are we talking about?
We've several age levels, really.
Right.
So 16 to 18 is our full-time student recruitment. Apprentices can be any age from 16 and above, and we do have a number of apprentices that are older than people would expect as apprentices. And then we also have adult funding. So as soon as you turn 19, you become an adult in terms of education, and therefore 19 plus is what we would say
eligible
for adult education. And then we have higher education as well.
Gosh,
so we do run some foundation degrees, HNCs, HNDs for adults as well, but that comes under like a different stream.
And do you deal with all of those range of people? Obviously, do
in terms of marketing, yes.
Gosh, so again, very varied. You can obviously have your marketing strategy aimed at the, if you like, younger market, but then you've got to aim at the higher market. So again, in terms of your marketing strategy, that must be massively different.
It is.
So gives an example of a younger aged one and an older age marketing strategy.
Well, the strategy really for young people is to get them to one of our open events throughout the year. Because actually, when you come and see our facilities, they're exceptional and our tutors are outstanding. So once we get those young people through the door to have a look at our facilities and see what we have to offer, because I think a lot of people don't realise how large the college is until they get there.
Huge.
Yeah.
You've been there.
Yeah, so that is the strategy really for young people, is to get them through the door, get them to come and talk to our tutors about what there is to offer. Realise that it's not as scary as they might imagine.
Yeah.
So we have a dedicated schools liaison team that do a lot of outreach work, which allows that kind of relationship to form. And then we take about 2,000 year 10s every July.
2,000?
And they come for a day and they do a taster. In 2 subjects, which then gears them up for year 11. So they've got a bit more of an idea as to what they're looking to apply for. So that's, in a nutshell, the strategy for there. Wow. I mean, there's support in marketing that goes alongside that. And then for adult skills, it's very much more targeted digitally through social media, through radio. We do digital radio campaigns, Sky TV. Which Adam and the team have helped us put together.
All right. God, he's still getting points even when he's not here.
Yeah, and so a bit of a mix there, but very much more targeted postcode location, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And then higher education's different again, although that I think nationally is a little bit more in decline at the moment. So there's still a lot of opportunity in higher education that is really great. You know, counselling at the moment's doing really well.
Good.
So there's peaks and troughs as well in trends as to what people apply for.
Right. Do you find, talking about peaks and trends there, Claire, do you find that it's seasonal? Is there better marketing at the beginnie of the year, middle of the year, end of the year?
It's all year.
Is it just it's flat out all year?
It used to be a cycle, but now it's just, it's very much all the time.
And do you believe that's due to the way that we've changed as human nature? Because obviously every single minute of the day it's like breaking news. There's a joke going around in the whole of the office at the moment. It's like the phone goes breaking news, it's not breaking news, you know. And it's just like, how is that breaking news? But we live in an age, what I'm getting at is we live in an age where everybody wants instant information.
Absolutely.
Right, and you're finding the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, we used to schedule posts, and now actually very much it's very organic. There's still elements of scheduling, but because we want to do it real time and make it as real as possible for people to see what we're up to, it tends to be very much that, you know, we have a team that go out, we'll get a phone call that says something really exciting's happening in a certain area of the college, and we're pretty responsive to be down there.
It's like a SWAT team. It's like, go! Head to class 5.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be a little bit like that sometimes.
It's very exciting. So that's why you love your job.
Loads of content. Loads. Every day.
Absolutely. So obviously in terms of marketing, and obviously speaking to Adam, but we get it with our customers when we try and do like their websites or they're asking our advice on social media. I just I don't know what to write, whereas you're the opposite. It's like, there's too much.
Yeah, there can be. Some of it we would save for like holiday time to make sure that we're consistent through half terms and holidays. But a lot of the time, some days it's like, have we posted too much because there's just so much going on? So I am quite smug in the fact that we don't really have a problem with content.
I can imagine. That's fantastic. So again, you mentioned about social media. So is that across every single platform, like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok, is it literally everyone?
Our best engagement is Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook tends to be more parents that would follow us.
Of course,
and our staff also follow us on Facebook. So it's quite nice that we're almost giving like internal comms on an external platform. Although we do have a newsletter as well.
Of course you do, yeah.
But also... Instagram for the students tends to be the case. TikTok, I think, is a strange one.
It is, isn't it?
Because we've got to balance what we're trying to say.
Yeah.
And we're all a bit old to be cool.
Absolutely.
So it's that balance, isn't it?
It is, yeah, exactly.
I don't want to be cringe for the students either.
No.
It is a bit of a balance. We do have a TikTok. But it's one that probably needs some development, really.
I say this to Adam all of the time. Resilient is on X, it's on Facebook, it's on Instagram. TikTok, maybe not. I just don't feel as it's right for my customers and my age. And I remember about a couple of episodes ago, Adam was saying, but if you think about it, as new businesses come on board, obviously they will be using TikTok, so are you missing out? And I'm always like... I don't know, but you're right. For me, I look at TikTok and I'm just going, I just don't get it. I really don't.
Yeah.
It's, as you say, it's all of these people, all of these influences in air quotes, and I'm just like, that's not me. It's not my market. Not to say that it won't be.
Yes.
But you're echoing the same thing.
Yeah, similar. Yeah, I think we have to be a lot of things to a lot of people, and therefore it's probably a better opportunity on some of the other platforms, but there is certainly a place for TikTok.
Oh, there is, absolutely.
Certainly.
You can imagine that some of the younger businesses, if you like, in terms of their age, TikTok's their absolute best platform because it's what they've grown up with. Whereas obviously I'm, and I've known Facebook and I've known the rest of them, so they're more established, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And you're echoing the same. Okay, so how big's your team?
Well,
it's me.
In terms of marketing, there's 3 of us at the moment.
Gosh, right.
So that would be myself, a digital marketer and a graphic designer.
Gosh, right.
And then the wider team, there's 18 of us in total, I believe, for business engagement.
Yes, business.
Across, adult skills, apprenticeships and schools engagement and work experience. So
right.
Some of them are also multifaceted.
Yeah,
so,
I can imagine.
I've got an events team as well of 2. So they would generate event commercial sort of income as well from that. So we do conferencing and hiring and that type of thing.
So as I said, very varied in terms of that. What's the next event? Give yourself a plug.
We have Darlington Business Club next Wednesday.
Hang on a minute. I wonder where Michelle's super excited about that one.
Yeah. So we've got that next Wednesday evening, and that'll be an opportunity for people to come around the college, have a look at our amazing facilities that I mentioned earlier, and really see what we're about, because it isn't just a case of, a 16-year-old coming straight from school and learning a trade.
Yes.
We have a fantastic robotics lab. We've got a 360 immersive classroom.
I'm going to come on to that.
But also really high industry standard facilities for, our construction trades, our hair and beauty salons. Catering is phenomenal. So yeah, there's a mix of everything.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
IT, of course.
I know, IT, of course. Well, obviously, we've got a long-standing relationship with yourself.
Yep.
We've got a number of apprentices from yourself, and we can't speak highly enough of you. You are so engaging with us. You are so easy to work with. The people that you send our way, they all seem to be like great people in terms of that. So you must get, you must see both sides of it in terms of the marketing that you do, but also seeing the students, and as you mentioned earlier, about working with them, how they're engaging with yourself and the school and the employees. You must get a great buzz from that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You see students come in and then at the end we're writing the alumni stories of what they go on to do.
Yeah.
And that is really nice.
It must be.
Yeah, and certainly when you go in, I mean, we've got a training restaurant. So you'll go in September at the start of the year when the front of house students are just starting out. They're quite nervous.
Yeah.
And, you know, come this time of year when you're going back into that same environment, the distance travelled from where they've started out is really lovely.
Do you get to taste all the food as well?
Absolutely.
Oh, how we.
Yeah, they do some really fantastic evenings as well, which are open to the public.
Yeah.
So part of the responsibility of the marketing is to market those as well.
Yeah.
But we've had some phenomenal trips this year as well. So our catering students got the opportunity to go to Thailand and learn Thai cookery.
Goodness me, that's amazing.
And our beauty students also went to Thailand. But
Did you go?
No.
Oh,
sadly not this time.
Could you not wangle it somehow?
Yeah, I mean, somebody needed to take the photos.
Well, exactly. I'll volunteer.
But yeah, so we've got so many trips. So we've had students in media go to Cambodia this year. Health and social care students also went to Cambodia.
Wow.
Construction have been to Tanzania to build a school. So yeah, all of that. I mean, that's marketing content all day long.
I was about to say that is just like thank you, give more marketing.
And that's hopefully going to continue into next year as well.
Yeah.
So when we say don't just learn it, live it, we are actually.
Is that your strapline?
Yeah.
And I honestly, I'm just listening and I believe it already.
Yeah, so they are really living it. They're not just sitting in a classroom.
And again, those students that go, when they come back, not only a massive experience for them, but to get out and learn other cultures, other environments, it must be fantastic for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think in Tanzania, it was pretty basic in terms of accommodation. And
there's your hut.
Yeah.
What?
The graft was hard.
Oh.
So, but what they achieved was just amazing. And I think even just being away from home, it was 17 days, the trips. So they're pretty lengthy to be that far away from home. And some of our students might not have even been away for that long before or left home for that long. So preparation for university, preparation for work, preparation for life, I guess.
I was just about to say, and again, in terms of the Tanzania, obviously in terms of where they went, and you were saying the amenities were pretty basic, but to actually give those students that taste and go, do you know what? Actually, you're okay.
Yeah.
Because we live in a world where hell, hiya, Claire. Oh my God, I had to clean the pond the other day. And you're like, really?
Yeah.
But obviously, when they got to there and when they come back, the gratification of going, do you know what? I've actually got it okay, haven't I? And I'm like, yeah, you have. But again, it must be great for them. It's grounding them.
Yeah, absolutely. And there wasn't much Wi-Fi either, so.
I can't get on TikTok.
Yeah, so in terms of like them being able to communicate with each other, play traditional games on an evening because there wasn't that opportunity to be on their phones, has also opened their eyes, I think, to, what can be different from just sitting on your phone. The communication certainly has changed.
I get it. We've been a couple of last weekends. We've been away and we've been with family and friends. And unfortunately, the kids are like glued to their phones and their Xbox and their Switches. We did get onto the conversation. We're like going, we didn't have that when we were young. We literally sat around the table and played board games or watched BBC together or watched shows together. Whereas nowadays it's like, it was almost a case of, I won't mention exact names, but it was like, do you want to come and sit and join us? Like, oh, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Really? And it's just like, you can't be doing that because technology is fantastic, but I also think it has made us a lot different in terms of growing up.
Mm-hmm. Certainly.
Yeah, exactly. So in your 11 years of being with Darlington College, Claire, have you seen a massive change in terms of not only the students, but in terms of your marketing for 11 years, yeah? 100%? Yeah. Right. So day one, young Claire sets in and goes, oh, what have I done? Oh my God, what have I let myself in for?
Did you see me on day one?
It was a hidden camera, Claire, that was just looking. But on that first year, the first year that you started, it must have been massively different to where you are now. So can you sort of like give us a bit of a journey and some of the things that you've seen change in both attitudes in students, attitudes in scholarship and tutors, but obviously media as well, because the social media has accelerated in the last couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. So certainly we were still on Facebook back in the day. Back in the day. Certainly there was a lot more print.
Yes.
We did a lot less in terms of digital.
Yeah.
It was far less targeted in what we were able to achieve back then.
Shotgun approach. I'll just blast it out there.
Yeah, it was a lot more like that. Students were probably just entering that level of engagement and not really understanding the implications of being on those platforms. We had a lot more inappropriate commenting, if you like, and by inappropriate I just mean just juvenile commenting.
Absolutely.
And that has certainly moved forward. Our students now celebrate us on social media in a completely different way, whereas back then it was more seen as a platform to complain.
It was.
Almost.
Yes.
So that's certainly changed.
Good.
I think COVID in the middle of that 11 years certainly accelerated the whole college in terms of its ability to use technology.
Yes.
And certainly, I mean, we were pretty okay in that we were a Google reference college, so we had a lot of the infrastructure in place anyway to cope in terms of Chromebooks and that type of thing. So when we got the call to say we had to lock down, we were up and running remotely relatively quickly.
Yes.
So we had an advantage in that sense. But certainly moving from that, we've seen the importance of technology.
Yeah.
I mean, Teams has changed dramatically since we first started using it.
Absolutely.
I mean, we were running open events online and we were doing course casting, all from different homes. Some of our tutors really embraced that and were happy to kind of film themselves on their mobiles and send that over to us to create. So that changed the landscape after COVID, and certainly with the introduction of local skills priority and towns funds and that type of thing, that's allowed us to invest in technology and facilities in the latter half of my time as well.
Wow. So you've seen a lot of change, haven't you?
Huge amounts of change.
Yeah, and as I say, COVID for us, I always remember, and it's a nice story, and forgive me, I'm repeating it, but it was always like we embraced Teams right from the start. And I was talking to my customers and going, you really should be working on Teams. It's not just a platform for chatting and video. You can store files, you can do this, and I would be honest, a lot of them, okay, that's fine, Andy, I'll think about it. COVID hit, Andy, that Teams you were talking about? Yes. It's like, can we implement it now? It's like, goodness me. But it's massively changed. And I think the world has changed. COVID has certainly taught us that we can not work from an office. We can work from home. I always remember some of my customers were like, I will never get my users to work from home. I want to see the whites of their eyes. I want to see them working. Obviously, COVID then went, nope, you can't do that. And I think I would probably say about 80% of my customers were like, do you know what? It's actually better. Because not only was it more interesting from our point of view to see the engagement, as in social engagement from afar, but I think users felt much more comfortable. I've still got customers today that prior COVID did not have a home working policy. Now they've fully embraced it. And I think it's fair to say that they've seen a massive improvement in production because the users, and again, unfortunately, I'm not being sexist in this, but my wife certainly, Michelle, works from home Monday to Friday, and she's like, I will do the work, and I've got no issue with that. But she said it's just the silly things. I'll go and put a wash on. I'll go and do this. I'll go and do that. And certainly from a man's point of view as well, where he's like, yeah, I'll take the dog for a walk and do that. But they found that productivity actually increased because they felt more relaxed at home.
Yeah.
They were working harder. And so what if they took 2 hours out during the day to do something? They'd end up not working. Stop working at 5:30. They're like, well, I'll make up those 2 hours.
Yeah.
Nobody said to them, do that. And we definitely have a very relaxed atmosphere in Resilient, but I actually think it increases productivity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't have the commute, so therefore you start earlier, don't you? I certainly do. I work from home on a Wednesday.
Right.
Which is a lovely balance for me because it means that I've got a day where I can do all the kind of more heavy thinking.
Yes.
Without being interrupted.
Yeah.
But I'm a very, very social person as well, so I do like being in the office. It's a lovely mix.
I do get that, but you're absolutely right. Sometimes Michelle, when she's working on the accounts, bless her, when she's working on a website for a user, it's actually nice not to be in, listening to things like that because you get distracted. Bless you.
Do.
And I don't think it's a bad thing.
No.
If we were working in the office together, I would see Claire's working really. Hi, Claire, what are you doing for the weekend? And bless you, thinking, bugger off, Andy, I'm trying to think. But obviously, you're right, it's a nice balance, isn't it? You will probably, like Michelle does, Wednesday I'll do this because it's my perfect at home day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic in terms of that. So let's talk a little bit about the tech, which I'm super excited about. So give the listeners an example. You've got some amazing technology in the college now. So just take us through it all.
Okay. Well, I can give you a whistle-stop tour. I'm not the techie.
No.
So I can give you the marketing spiel for the tech.
Have you ever thought about being a marketing Claire?
So where do we start? So a couple of years ago, we installed a 360 immersive classroom. So that is a room that basically projects on all the walls and the floor and the ceiling to create an environment that you can put yourself in. And the reason behind that was because some of our students, when they're having to write creatively for their English GCSE as an example, may not have ever experienced something that they then have to write about. So we can put them in the middle of the forest. We can put them in a trench in World War One. Because there's often writing about war or writing a letter home or something like that. Well, we can put them anywhere, basically. Yes. And we've also found that our other lecturers are starting to use that for other things. So games design might go in there and do a quiz where they're not necessarily sat in a classroom because students learn in different ways.
Of course they do.
The 360 classroom gives those students the opportunity to learn in different ways. But we also do enrichment in there. So we have like a Dungeons and Dragons club. So they will surround themselves in a time while they're doing that game. But that also kind of supports with maths and English as well. So that's the 360 classroom in a nutshell. We do have schools that come in and see that, and our nursery children as well from the childcare centre, they come over in half term and use it as well. So we can put them in an aquarium or whatever, and without them having to actually go anywhere.
The look on their faces must be
phenomenal.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's lovely. And travel and tourism students, if they're learning about a particular place, they can go in there and, see it 360.
There was the hut I was in Tanzania.
Absolutely. Well, exactly. And we can film in 360 as well, so use our own content in there.
Gosh almighty, right, so that's really good. Okay, so there's a 360.
So that's a 360 classroom. We've got a robotics lab for our T-level engineering students, and that was installed another couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And that is for... Historically, I guess, they were programming Lego robots.
I did that. I did the little turtle thing.
Yeah?
Yeah, I did all of that.
So there's that element of programming, but actually the robotics that are supplied by Cobots, which is Newton Aycliffe, a lot of industry use those robots. And the robotic arms change depending on what you need within the manufacturing industry. Yes. So the students would still learn the basics off the robots, but actually the programming is very similar.
Yes.
So then they learn to program the actual robots.
Yes.
And as part of the T-level, there's an employer-led project. So an employer would give them a manufacturing or a production line problem to solve, and then we would use those robots. But But it is also there for industry if they're looking to upskill or retrain the staff as well. So there's those options with the robots. They're really impressive. Other technology, VR headsets being introduced. And again, for a lot of different reasons. So our schools liaison team will use those in terms of like a virtual tour in schools if people can't get in. But also we've got health and safety modules on there. So rather than us having to break a load of tools and get students to identify which tools are broken, they can all be done in VR. Or we can put students in unsafe environments, if you like, and get them to identify the risk in a much more interactive way. Or we can put them on the top of a wind turbine to see whether they'd manage. So, VR, the possibilities are endless. And certainly our health and social care students use that as well. So there's elements of how you would feel if you'd had too much to drink, or you can, I think there's even for childcare, you can go into like a womb and see a baby growing and that type of thing.
Goodness me.
So if you can think about it, you can put it into VR.
No, absolutely. In terms of the engagement, I always remember when I got the first VR set, my father, bless him, he was probably about 70 at the time. Unfortunately, tinnitus, so he falls over very easily. But I sat him down, I put the headset onto him, and I took him to Google Earth, which was that. And I was like, "Where would you like to go?" And everybody says the Jesus Christ statue, and we zoomed to there, and the look on his face, my father was in the Navy, so he's travelled a lot, he's seen stuff, but just like, I've never been to there. The look on his face was just a picture, and he's like, "Take me to Egypt now," and like, off we went to Egypt. So again, you're saying about that immersiveness, that ability to give the children who maybe haven't been away or can't go away or not old enough to go to Tanzania, to actually give them that experience. Back in the days, I'm a lot older than you. A textbook, you just had to think about it and go, I wonder what it's like in an aquarium. I wonder what it's like there. Now you can physically take them there.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
And the other piece of technology that we have just had over the last year, we've got a brand new healthcare ward. So that is a fully simulated hospital environment, doctor's surgery and care home.
It is huge, by the way. The college is massive.
And within there, we've got some AI mannequins. So they can be programmed with ailments for the students to diagnose. We've got one called Alex who will talk back to you. He breathes and it gives you different scenarios really to diagnose. But also he's got a camera within one of his eyes, so all of that can be recorded for assessment. And it's actually a bit creepy in there on an evening.
I can imagine.
And then they can take blood from another one. We've got one of the only bariatric mannequins in the country, I think. So the learners would learn how to lift and hoist in and out of bed, and that type of thing. And then we've got baby mannequins as well. So, but Alex, I guess, is probably the most innovative in his ability to kind of be programmed to say he has a heart condition or something wrong with him, and he will talk back to you as if you are having a conversation.
Let's discuss that. How is that even? Who came up with that thought? And how on earth did you get not the funding, but how on earth did you get the idea to do this? Because at the end of the day, it's for the students to give them the best possible experience, but that must have been somebody with a moment of brilliance.
I think our tutors are just really passionate about what they teach because they're mainly from industry.
Yes.
So the tutors within the T-level healthcare qualification, if you like, who are teaching on that, are from that background. And so they know what would have benefited them from training.
Brilliant.
And therefore they can bring that to life. And, funding is a completely, we could do a whole podcast on funding. But if we've got that ability through certain funds and support, then actually our imagination's already there. It's just being able to be able to bring that to life. But luckily with some of the local skills improvement partnerships that we're part of, that was able to happen. So the ward, if anybody does want to come and see it, is pretty impressive.
But for any up-and-coming person that wants to be in healthcare, what better place to start with? Because it is all about that. You know, in the early days of the textbooks, and, you know, you'd read about, well, if a person's got this particular ailment, the symptoms are this, this, and this. You'd have to think about this. But obviously being able to talk to something that talks back to you, that's the whole difference in it. It just must be absolutely phenomenal for the kids and anybody to actually learn and talk to that. And you can program it to have different reasoning, to have different ailments, because obviously, again, God bless my father, you know, we take him sometimes, like, my leg hurts. And you know, and when we take them to the doctors, obviously the doctor has to probe. So how does it hurt? Is it hurting when you're standing, when you're leaning, when you're doing this? But again, you can program your animatronic bot to do that.
Yeah, and also he will give his family history as well. So, you know, if we're talking about a heart problem, we would expect that the learners would ask about family history.
Does it run in your family?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think my bad knee runs in the family. Yeah. I know what you mean, though, but absolutely. And certainly when my, God rest my mum, unfortunately developed cancer, that's exactly what they do. Suddenly your record is marked that you've got cancer in your family, and therefore it's important to learn all of that. You know, hereditary and all of these types of things. Incredible. So the students can actually ask, you know, about the heart condition. And again, as you quite rightly said, you would expect the student, the person, to say, does it run in your history in the family? Yes. And he's programmed to learn that. Yeah. Incredible. Again, just probing a little bit on there. Can you program in absolutely anything? We had Keith Wilson on, who has dementia, Parkinson's disease, my apologies. Again, is it that clever enough to program anything?
This is where my marketing
knowledge
ends. I think we can program it to a certain extent.
Yes.
And I think in the fullness of time, the capabilities will be endless. Yeah. I mean, I know it breathes and you can take its pulse and, you know, respiratory type elements. I'm not sure. They've not mentioned Parkinson's.
But that's fine.
In, you know, it's programmable.
That's what I'm saying.
So yes.
So when you're talking about respiratory there, you must be able to program heart murmurs.
Yes.
So it will just literally beat it then. And again, you're training that person to go recognise that, understand what that missing of a beat was, or the murmur, or high blood pressure, or
yes.
Just amazing.
We also, for Uniform Public Services, have other injured
my
mannequins
goodness.
as well that can, you know, project blood. Or I haven't actually seen that in action.
I don't think we want to see that.
But also I think they can give like tracheotomies and stuff like that through it. So and we've got ones with bed sores. I mean, the possibilities really are endless. If it is in real life, it can be made.
But again, giving that person, giving that student the opportunity to work with a person that has this disease, they're never going to get a better opportunity.
Yeah.
That is incredible in stuff in terms of that. So because you were saying that it's probably the first in the country, again, from a marketing point of view, you're just sat there going, hello, thank you.
That's the bariatric element. Some of the other colleges do have some of the mannequins, but the bariatric, certainly.
It must be a marketing dream for you.
Yes, it is. I mean, it is. Again, it's just constant content, really. There's always developments going on. I mean, there is talk that in the fullness of time, our 360 classroom will also smell, so we can put smells in there. So, you know, if we are on a hospital ward, you could make it smell like a hospital ward, or
but even as you were saying about a volcano or things like that, because of the sulfur, because of the things. But certainly in terms of the medical, you will be able to recognise the particular illness and say, that smell is associated with this, that smell is associated with that. Because you're right, in terms of back in the day, we keep saying that in the textbooks, you know, reading a particular illness, the person will exhibit these signs. You will have a stench of, you will. You've got to think about these things.
You've got to expose the learners to it as well, because they would have to go into placement and deal with that in real time.
So here's a question then, and again, it's probably, bless you, not aimed at the marketing, it's more of a hypothetical. Do you think with the elements, with the environment that you're providing, does that speed up learning?
I think it certainly has a positive contribution to learning.
That's what I'm getting.
And I think certainly when we've held employer boards with a number of employers who have fed back about communication being really key to employability, if you like. So, I mean, we were talking just before the podcast about learners and being ready in terms of their attitude rather than actually their technical ability, because that can be taught
100%
in employment as well. So of course we do the technical learning. I get into trouble otherwise.
Didn't mean that. Cut that bit out, Alina. No.
But in terms of getting them employability ready, certainly our employers are feeding back that communication style is something that they need to work with. So if a learner can practice on a AI mannequin, when they are then going into a work placement setting, be that in a care home or a hospital or a GP surgery, they've already had that kind of confidence built in them that they can interact and have those conversations.
Yes.
Where they've done that in a safe environment for them and then bring that through. But, we've got a whole communication strategy now through group tutorials that we're implementing as a result of employer feedback. So we're always willing to hear that feedback in order to better improve the prospects, if you like, for the young people.
It must be difficult because we, Resilient in the early days, we have seen that when we have like day one placements or somebody said, can my son pop in for a day, just to engage, just to see what it's like. And there has certainly been a few interesting people that when they get into that environment, they just clam up and they're like, I don't know how to talk to you, and we certainly have a few stories, and it's not just cliched stories, but of the day and age where it's like, well, I've got to write. Well, yeah. Because, when you get a brand new machine in, or when we have a machine that needs to be repaired, you've obviously got, Claire's machine is broken, this is what it needs to be done. And you've got to write the form. And, we've got the student to write, and you're like, I can't read that. And it's like, well, I'm not used to writing. Mm-hmm. And you're like, why? And because, well, everything's electronic nowadays. And you're like, really? But obviously, speaking to people on the phone, we've had students where they absolutely cannot handle on the phone speaking to somebody that they've not engaged with ever before.
Yeah.
And again, have you seen that change? Is that the reason why you brought in the communication strategy?
So that's all part of it, really. Right. So it sounds really simple, but actually, absolutely. And we've also had feedback from IT industry that basically students are very, very good at the technical knowledge and they can talk technically. But actually, when you're relaying that to lay public who are not techie, it's the ability to be able to switch that communication, to be able to talk to them about the problem without it being so mind-blowing that they don't really understand what you're talking about. So we're also introducing that kind of soft skill whereby you might be really technical here, but how do you change your language so you can resonate with the customer?
Again, we were talking just before the podcast, and obviously the gentleman, the student that I was talking about, half of the things that I'm ending up teaching them is exactly what you've just said. The example that I gave was that I was speaking to a customer and I kept muting myself to the customer to explain to Liam about what I was doing. But what I was saying was, the reason I was saying that is because of X. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we noticed in the early days, some of our previous apprentices, yes, very technical, but actually concentrating so much on the job. And I was saying to Liam, I'm going, reason that I said, how's your day going? Is because otherwise the other user on the end of the phone is going, I wonder what's happening. Mm-hmm. There is nothing but silence or the clicking of a keyboard or the tutting of the engineer going, why is it not working? And what I was explaining, I'm like, engage in them. Mm-hmm. So what I've always tried to teach anybody within the IT industry is that when you are engaging, let's say it's with yourself, Claire, it's not your fault that whatever you are doing has gone wrong. Sorry.
It might have been.
No, it probably was. I always remember in the early days of being in the IT industry, going way back, Claire, I used to run a help desk and I used to engage with my customers. And I always remember one of the guys, he was a fairly newbie, and a person rang up and explained that they'd had a problem. The first thing he did was tut and went, gah. And I honestly ripped him apart. I was going, how dare you? Because why on earth would you think that person would know that? You know, and again, to engage him. So going back, the reason I say, how's your day going? It's to keep you occupied while I'm sat there going, what on earth is going wrong? But how's your day going, Claire? What have you been busy? I'm instantly giving you something to think about, taking your mind off the fact that I'm sat there in the back going, I have no idea what this is. And the other thing that I mentioned to Liam is get to a certain point in the conversation, and I do this all the time when I'm going, bloody hell, Claire, this should have been easy. I tell you what I'll do. I'll give you a bell back. Go make yourself a cup of tea. And again, it disengages that awkwardness is what somebody explained it to me. Like, but I don't know what to say. Well, tell them you'll ring them back. Oh, yeah. But again, that whole experience, but that communication project that you're working on there, I don't think you would ever be able to teach that apart from what you're doing now. You can't.
No.
A student doesn't know.
It's experience, isn't it?
100%, and obviously you get that experience. And as you say, bless you, when I was saying day one, like, Claire, I don't know what to do. But because of your age or because of your experience, you learn that you cannot teach that experience. Nobody can.
Nobody can.
But by putting them in that environment, the communication, AI, robot, or whatever, I think you're doing nothing but brilliant things to the students. Give them that leg up into life.
Yes, absolutely.
Because there's nothing to gain experience. Nobody can. No. You know, and until you're that age, I don't think anything can teach you that. I always tell the story that when I started in IT, some of the things that I did, it was like, oh my God, I've just done this. But the hairs on the back of your neck stand up the next time was like, last time I completely ruined that man's life because I deleted all of his photographs or whatever. Again, teaching that, I'm assuming again with the AI, not wanting to sound too dramatic, but I'm assuming you can program the bot to be a life-threatening illness and give them that experience?
Yeah, like it would be, I think it's mainly like heart attack and that type
but
of
that's
thing.
What I'm saying.
So yeah, like where it needs to be diagnosed really quickly.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah.
Right, okay. And again, teachers of the old age in terms of the health, you would never be able to treat this person's got a heart attack until you've got a person, God bless them, who are having a heart attack. You know, and I can bless. I'm not making fun of it. But it's like, quick, grab the students. This man's having a heart attack.
Yeah.
But because it's experience for them. Whereas now you can teach them that in a safer environment.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's just incredible. What? Anything else, or is that it now?
I mean, there is technology integrated throughout the college. I think they're probably the largest and newest wow.
Yes.
We do have some electric vehicle rigs.
Goodness me, right.
So in terms of automotive, those training rigs would allow students more information on electric vehicles and how to look after them safely.
Right.
That is when you get further into your course. You know, we're not putting level 1 learners on electric vehicle rigs.
No, just to say health and safety.
Yeah, but they're pretty impressive. So they're very large. And yeah, pretty impressive.
Good stuff.
So yeah, a lot across the college really in every area.
Okay. Where do you see yourself going now? I mean, obviously what you've explained there is phenomenal. How on earth can you better yourself? What plan, without giving away the trade secrets, but surely you must be looking ahead to say, what else can we do?
I think there has been some element of investment in green energy.
Yes.
And teaching green energy and sustainability through our construction trades, retrofit, air source heat pumps, that type of thing. So we're looking at sustainability and green energy in the construction industry.
Really positive.
Basically. Yeah. And as I say, that's already started.
Yes.
And I guess to a certain extent, because technology does move so fast, we probably don't know to a certain extent what we'll be doing in 2 years' time, because it might not even be here yet. So
no, exactly. But obviously AI is making massive inroads, and the ability to do that. AI is just going to creeping everywhere.
Absolutely.
It really is. It's a constant topic on the podcast. People are frightened of it. People don't know how to handle it. People are going, it's Skynet and Terminator all over again.
Yeah.
But you must have seen, even in your marketing.
I love it.
Fantastic. Give us a little bit of insight into what you use it.
We still absolutely write our own content.
Of course.
But in terms of time saving, if you like, if we have a large news article that we've written without AI, it may be that we would put elements of that in there to say, how would we shorten this for a post on social media, and that type of thing we would use it for. Or X especially. When
you've only got them, But that, to me, Claire, is an absolute perfect example. You've already written the content.
Yeah.
It's generated by you.
Yeah.
All you're telling AI to do is summarize it.
Yeah.
So it's not as if it can go outside of the box because you've given it all the content.
Yeah.
So that would be perfect for you. Like, summarize this as a post for Twitter, X, blah, blah, blah. It will do its job 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And we keep saying, myself and Adam, we keep saying, you must embrace AI. Not that it will take away any of your functionality, not that it will take away your job. Use it wisely to do the mundane things. And let's face it, you've got a huge article and somebody says, Claire, can you shorten that ready for X? Right, I've got to read it. I've got to understand it. I can't miss out that because that's important. But give it to the AI bot and go, do my job for me, please.
Yeah.
To me, you've worked cleverly.
Yeah.
You've gone, well, I've utilised my time by utilising AI. Right, I've done that. Next.
Yeah.
You've gained time. And that's a fantastic method in terms of that.
Yeah.
So this is really good in terms of that. So one of the things I wanted to quickly touch on is, obviously, in terms of a college, everybody thinks students, younger students, but you've constantly mentioned that you interact with businesses, and I know that we are one of those businesses. How have you seen the engagement with businesses in terms of all of the technology, in terms of all of the marketing? During your 11 years, have you seen a massive rise of businesses knocking on your door going, can we be part of this, please?
Yes. Yeah,
wow.
And in various ways, really.
Right.
So from options for businesses to come in and teach masterclasses in its simplest form, if you like, to businesses engaging with us to train their own staff. So across the board, really. And you would think that we would only engage with businesses if they want to take on an apprentice, but absolutely that isn't the case.
Yeah.
So businesses will come to us to hire our facilities. They'll come to us to do their own training of their own staff. We're actually running a British Sign Language course with the Deaf Empowering Network.
Wow.
So businesses are getting their staff trained to be able to communicate through sign.
Yes.
But there's all sorts of different courses, and a lot of them we would call professional qualifications. So that will be things like accountancy or HR, project management, those types of courses that businesses will then pay for their workers to come and sit with us. Some of that can be free because of the funding that's available. Not always. But different ways that businesses engage, and a lot of them are very, very keen to be part of our employer forums as well.
Yes.
And if anybody does want to be part of that,
well, I know Adam is, isn't he? Yeah,
Adam's
really good in terms of that. So, may I ask, in terms of where the businesses train their own staff, is that helping fund? Because obviously that must be like, well, yes, of course you can, but you need to pay for that. But does that help fund the college?
Yes, it can do, but a lot of the time we can offer bespoke training. So we've done that with some engineering companies, whereby they've wanted specific bespoke training that we've then put on.
Right.
And because elements of that are they're government funded, so you don't necessarily have to pay for everything.
I'm with you,
But there is elements that if it was wholly bespoke and we couldn't find, like, without boring you, a learning aim, then that would be what we would call full cost.
Right.
But that's
Fine.
discussed. Yeah, that's discussed
absolutely.
up front.
If we had a specific course that we couldn't find, as you say, with the funding, I think it would be useful to for any business to go, well, actually, we'll get benefit out of that. We'll happily pay for that. But that's great in terms of
the biggest one for us, really, that most businesses are asking for, and you'd be probably shocked, is essential digital skills.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Wow.
a number of businesses, not necessarily tech businesses,
No,
obviously.
I do get that.
You know, wanting to ensure that their staff are fully digitally astute, should we say. So, yeah, we do essential digital skills.
I can probably believe that because we've certainly, from our range of businesses that we help in terms of IT, we have ran across, I would say, the middle-aged generation and the younger generation, actually, where I'm trying not to be disrespectful, but they've asked questions that even I've gone, really? You don't know how to do that. But, and that's no disrespect to them. They've probably never engaged. They probably have done. But you're probably right. The basics underlying skills, you and me, obviously, I know you're much younger than me, but in terms of our age, we were taught those skills.
Yeah.
And going back to what I was saying about the apprentices, really funny in terms of the things. Me and Adam were talking on a podcast about the old taking the credit card, where you had to put it in a machine.
Yeah.
Click, clack it.
I do remember that.
You do remember that. But you see what I'm saying? You will get some businesses now where, the franking machine or post an envelope or put a... How do you write an envelope? And you're like, really? But bless them, they've no need to learn those skills. Those skills have gone.
Yeah.
We don't need that. Everybody's talking about tap and pay now. Back in the day, me and you writing a check.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays, you're like, who writes checks?
Yeah.
But are there any technologies? Are there any things that you've seen during the 11 years that have come and gone completely?
Well, the QR code made a resurgence, didn't it?
It's suddenly back. We had somebody the other day literally asking us, can you generate a QR code for me? Why? Because we slapped them all over the place or put them on brochures.
Yeah. But that was a thing. It wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
And then it's now a thing.
Vinyl's gone. Vinyl's coming back and stuff like that. So, technology, I think, as you say, so many things are changing so rapidly that you tend to find that it's like, oh, it's the latest. It's gone. Where did that go?
Yeah.
But then it absolutely makes it a comeback because there's got to be the right time.
Yeah.
There's got to be the right thing. There's got to be the right method. There's got to be the right process. So you never know. Everybody's talking about, I don't own records anymore, whereas other people are going, but I love having a record.
Yeah.
I love taking it out the sleeve, smelling it, and then putting it on, and then reading about it. Whereas Spotify, click play.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Well, would you believe the hour's up? You said you wouldn't talk for an hour. I've not been able to shut you up in the nicest possible way. That's really great. What a fascinating thing. Before we move on to our usual, what are you doing for the weekend? How can anybody get in touch with you or the college to learn about what you can do for them?
The website's probably the best way, which is darlington.ac.uk. All of the information is on the website. That's probably the best way.
Yeah, okay, that's fantastic. So, what are you doing for the weekend?
This weekend, I have got a children's party on Saturday afternoon.
Wow.
It is my turn.
How exciting is that? So how old?
4.
Oh my God, so what's the theme?
Spider-Man.
Wow. Okay then. Obviously, well, dare I say young boy?
Yes.
I was going to say, because girls can do Spider-Man as well.
Yeah, it is, yes.
But your young boy, Spider-Man themed.
Spider-Man themed. That's what we're doing this weekend.
How many?
I'm not sure. It's a party that he's going to.
Oh,
so it's
right.
Not
Okay,
his
so it's
party.
not your party. No,
it's not.
Okay, so
I'd
he's going.
be less chilled.
I was about to say, you're taking this rather well. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. I've got to put all the furniture and all the ornaments. I've got to make sure. No, so you're just taking, are you staying or are you dropping them off?
Oh, no, it's one of those that I still have to stay, sadly. But then it's Mother's Day on Sunday, isn't it?
So that's the opposite.
Fingers crossed.
Well,
that's my chill day.
Should be, or partner should be going, I'll give you a rest and I'll take you out, my lovely, and we'll go to this. So that should be great.
We'll see.
We'll see. Oh, that's fantastic. So myself and Michelle are working tomorrow. We've got a customer that's doing a complete company rebrand. So they're moving from a company name to another company name. Oof. So all the background desktops, all the emails are changing, all the brochures are changing, all the email signatures are changing. So we've got about 30 machines to jump on and change. So that's going to be all of Saturday. Luckily, what I've said is there's no such thing as the yard arm. So probably about 11 o'clock, I'll be like, crack that wine open. And then we'll absolutely work on that. But yeah, Mothering Sunday. So we're going to take Michelle out for a meal with my father and my son. So that'll be very nice as well.
Yeah.
And then just relax on the Sunday. And then Monday, back to the grind.
Back to it.
Back to it. Claire, thank you so much. What an absolute pleasure it's been. I really hope that people have enjoyed that. I certainly have. It's been fantastic listening to what the Darlington College will do. So thank you so much for that. Hope everybody has a lovely weekend. See you later. Bye.